welcome to Falcon Structures. Thanks for taking the time today to go on a tour of our factory. I think the best place to start is actually here in the conference room. As you noticed when you walked up the stairs, this building, we call it Building 1, is made out of shipping containers, and we actually built it about 10 years ago. A couple things you'll see in the conference room is we're actually in 3 containers here. And so what we've done is we've kind of cut out the sides to create a bigger space. One of the things that people say is like, oh, if I'm in a container, I feel like I'm in a submarine. It'll be really cramped. Well, you can see that we've really opened up the space in here by creating a 3-wide. We built this Building 1 out of used containers. I personally really like the used containers because there's a real story behind them. And these containers have been around the world, tens of hundreds of times. It's really fascinating. So when we first built this building, it was 5 containers on the bottom and 3 on top. But as the company grew, we needed more space. So one of the things you'll see is we really eat our own cooking. And so as the marketing team grew, we just added another container. So now it's 5 on the bottom, 4 on top. And so let me show you how we did that. Up until about 3-4 years ago, the office actually ended right here, right? And so we said, okay, we need additional space, about 300 square feet for the marketing team. So what can we do? So we actually cut a hole in this kind of end container, and we actually added a whole nother 40-foot container here, which was the marketing team's office. Come on in. Here you can see the marketing office. It's definitely newer than our Building 1 office. And so this was added on about 4 years ago. And you can see it's got nicer walls, nicer paint, nicer floors. And so this is all the things that we learned, but also just the modularity of it, needing more space when we needed it, we could just turn it on and here it was. Well, let's go ahead and go downstairs. So here we're on the first floor of Building 1. So this is actually, like I said earlier, 5 containers. So Building 1, first floor, is also the home to our sales team. So our sales team takes care of our customers of all different shapes and sizes. And I would argue that they are the best sales team in our industry. Now over here on our left, we have our awards cabinet. So if you take a look through there, you'll see all the industry awards that we've won over the years for the container-based structures that we've built. We've won them through the Modular Building Institute, the National Portable Storage Association. We're quite proud of them and would love to tell you more about them. So Falcon Structure sits on a 51-acre site. So just to give you a sense of the scale of how big this site is, today we occupy 10 acres of this site, the front 10 acres. And then what we have is we have plenty of room to expand as our company grows. So really, if you translate that into square feet, that's around 400,000 square feet of manufacturing space. So here on my left, you can see the shipping containers that are getting ready to be sent out. So right now our factory is finishing about 2 to 3 containers per day. So we have trucks coming in here all the time, grabbing these and taking them to all kinds of places. Now I get the question, where are these containers going? Are they mainly going in Texas because we're headquartered in Texas? And my answer is no, they're going all over the world. We're sending containers as far north as Alaska. We're going all over the US. We've got containers going to the Caribbean. We've even got some going to Africa. And so the subsequent question then is, how do you get them there? Well, look at them. They're shipping containers. They're made to move. So let's go in Building 2. So here we are in Building 2. So Building 2 is home to our design and engineering team, our accounting team. Our design and engineering team actually comes up with all the different designs and how we go about building the container-based structures that we have. Now, they're not doing it from scratch every time. They're actually drawing on our 20 years of experience and drawing on our design library that we've created through that time. And so what you'll see as we go through the production area, you'll see these blue books, right? And so these blue books are actually the instructions for our production team on how to go about building our container-based structures, but they're also our quality manual as well, and make sure that we build them correctly every time, but consistently, and also exactly as the customer ordered them. So let's go to Building 3. So here we have Building 3. And so Building 3 is really the home of our operations management. This is really where everything is prepared so that production can actually execute on their mission of building container-based structures. Now, what do I mean by that? So in order for us to build a container-based structure, it's not just about getting a container. There's so many different pieces and parts that have to go into a container to make it successful. You need wood, you need steel, you need electrical components, you need plumbing components. So many different things need to come together. And so in Building 3, what we have is our materials team who's really prepping the battlefield, buying all those things, making sure that they show up so that once they get here, we can efficiently flow through production. We're not constantly looking for things, but we also have a planning function as well to make sure that all these different pieces fit together, right? To have a throughput of 2 to 3 containers a day, we really need to make sure that everything here is coordinated. Last thing I'll point out is you look at the footprint, and it's very similar to building 2, but as our production area grew, we needed more space, more office space for production management. So what did we do? We actually just added another 40-foot container on top. So let's go to the production area. So now we're finally ready to look at how these container-based structures come together and really where the work is being done. So as you can see, we're actually split up into work areas in the production area. So we have a fab dome, we have a carpentry dome, and we have a finish dome. And the reason we split it out that way is so that each set of tradesmen can actually have a home that they are working in, and they have a space that they're really responsible for. So this is our fab area. So one of the things you see here is that these guys are building frames. So here we've got some window frames that are getting ready to go in. We've got some P-tack frames for the air conditioners. We've got some door frames. We've got some utility port frames. It looks like we've got plenty of inventory here, and I know that these guys are preparing for a big job, so it's good that they're building these up. So these are really critical. Those aren't even in a container, because if you cut something away from a container, you have to reinforce it with something stronger. So you've got everything pre-cut, everything is jigged up. They shouldn't have to measure a whole lot unless they're custom frames, and so we can consistently build the same frame that's square every single time. So the framers are building frames all day, so that the hot work crew, once they've cut a hole, they have something to replace that with. So now we're in the hot work area. So what you see here is they're actually cutting these massive holes inside the container so that we can put in the door frames, so that we can put in the window frames. And so these guys are amazing welders, best in the industry, and they're getting all these things in. And not only is it structurally sound, it's also watertight as well in the way that we do it. And trust me, it's taken a lot of years to figure out how to make sure water doesn't get in these things. We've got welders in there, we've got plasma cutters in there, sparks flying, lots of things happening. Probably the most dangerous dome that we have, and then probably consumes the most electricity, but that's really what's happening in the hot work dome. Now from the hot work dome, we move into carpentry. We really need to frame up the inside of the container so that it can accept the wall paneling systems, accept the electrical rough in, plumbing rough in, and also the insulation so that you can keep these cool and warm in difficult climate situations. You can see that this is very different than the welding dome. We've got lumber everywhere, we've got insulation, we've got chop saws. But one of the coolest things is that, look, we're not a construction company, we're a manufacturing company. And so we're employing manufacturing practices. And one of those things is sub-assemblies, right? If I were a construction carpenter, a lot of the framing that you see in these containers, you'd be building it from the ground up. That's how construction works, that's how construction thinks. However, because we're manufacturing and we have the design library from the D&E team that we talked about, you can see that everything is jigged up. So we're actually building the frames here and then just assembling them in the container. So you can see here, this is a 2x4 frame that we're putting together. And so simple as that, they've got it all in place. They're getting it put together really fast, really efficient, saves a lot of time, but it all goes back to design. If our design isn't right, we can't do this. But because we've designed it ahead of time, they're building the same frame for the walls and the ceilings, and it goes in much faster. So you can see the carpenters are really working a lot with wood studs, but oftentimes they'll use steel studs as well, depending on the customer requirement. And then once they get all that done and they panel up the walls, it goes into the finished dome. That's where the magic is made. And that's really where the container pops. That's where the painters are working on making sure that the containers are painted with a high quality paint job on the outside as well as the inside, so that when it shows up to the customer, it meets or exceeds the customer's expectation. That does it for our tour today of Falcon Structures. Thank you for your time. You know, we get the question, where does think inside the box come from? In our culture, I believe think outside the box really exemplifies creativity. But hopefully based on what you saw today, thinking inside the box, you can be just as creative. So the next time you're thinking about container-based structures, think inside the box. Think Falcon Structures.